So let's bring him in right now, the Super Bowl champion, the longtime voice of the Chicago Bears. He is Tom Thayer, and he joins Waddle and Silvy on the CarX Tire and Auto Hotline. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, especially for this game. You know, it's a kind of a game that you live for during the season because it's the division, obviously. More games played between these two teams than any other teams. And the Bears got to get back on the winning side, like you guys mentioned.
Tom, you think everyone up there, players and coaches, understand the importance of this game? And not just because of, the 3-game losing streak, but I mean, the division side of it and the rivalry with the Packers?
T. Waddle, last week, or last offseason, Montez Sweat brought it up that this has got to change, that the Bears-Packer rivalry has to start turning on behalf of the Bears. So as when you got one of the new coming elder statesmen of this football team start making that declaration that you got to get back on the winning track against the Green Bay Packers, I think that message starts at the beginning of OTAs and it'll conclude on Sunday.
We're talking to Tom Thayer. He's brought to you by UI Health, exceptional care for you. To learn more, visit uihealth.care. We asked you in the pregame show what you wanted to see different from the offense to start last week's game. And again, they had trouble scoring early. They didn't do it. And they've not
scoring
had
all day.
All day. And they have not had a lead. So what Waddle gave his list earlier in the week, just basic points, basic principles.
To-do list for Thomas Brown.
What is your to-do list for Thomas Brown?
Simplification of the offense and the timing of the offense so it has a better tempo that results in on-field success. And I keep talking about throughout the course of this week, when you go back and you look at the completions to Keenan Allen and look at the time it took to get the ball out of the hand of Caleb Williams, efficiently, accurately with completions. But that's got to spill over to every other receiver on the team, and then you have to include Cole Kmet. And then in the running game, you got to have a commitment to the point of attack when you have interior running plays. They've been doing a nice job over the last 4 or 5 weeks running outside zone plays. You got to keep that up. But I think you got to simplify the process for Caleb rather than trying to expand it and complicate it.
I think one of the best things I've heard you, and you say a lot of great things, but I think one of the best things I heard you say recently was enough with the phony up-tempo. Explain that to our listeners, why what they're trying to kind of describe as playing up-tempo isn't really up-tempo.
Right. When you go back to no huddle and you think about the way that a guy like Boomer Esiason used to run it, or Jim Kelly or some of these other no huddles, they run right to the line of scrimmage. They immediately call the play and they run it before the defense couldn't identify and get set. But the Bears are going to the line of scrimmage. They're giving a fake cadence, seeing if they can get some tells. And then after they figure something out or figure nothing out, and then Caleb goes through the process of calling the play. So you're either asking the offensive line to stay in their stance for 25 seconds, or else you're calling the play after you get no tells from the defense. If you're going to have an up-tempo style of play, then you got to speed up the tempo to try to take advantage of either the defensive personnel that you have on the field according to the personnel you have, or just a sped up process so the defenders can't get in the right position in time.
So do you believe that the Bears will ditch that, or that they will go back to just calling a play in the huddle? What is your prediction?
My prediction is they're going to use the huddle. And I don't know this. This is something I'm just guessing at. I don't think you've really seen how that process at the line of scrimmage relates to offensive success. Yeah. I think it's about making sure that you give the quarterback, a young quarterback, time in the huddle to be able to say the terminology in the huddle and how it affects everybody's assignment, and then go on the line of scrimmage and put it to use, rather than trying to fool your opponent out of position, which you're not going to do.
Tom, I would also take some of his autonomy away from him. And it's not to punish him, But, don't put so much on him. As you said, simplify him things. So he goes to the line of scrimmage. I get it. If you got 9 guys at the line of scrimmage and you got a play that you can't run, fine. But a lot of this check with me stuff, it just hasn't worked, like you said. So why not get in and get something basic done and see if you can get something rolling in that manner?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think if you can simplify the game for Caleb and take away some of this thinking process for him, you're going to get a more efficient quarterback. And that can be runs that can be run against every defense that you see. The simplification of the passing game to incorporate Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, and the other assets they have in order to simplify the process for Caleb. And I think you're going to build his confidence. You're going to get the accuracy demonstrated that we saw earlier in the season and a more efficient offensive process.
How scrambled do you believe his brain is right now?
I think any quarterback in the National Football League is going 1,000 miles a minute within their first year or two inside the system. I don't know if they ever reach a settling point until they have the luxury of being in the same terminology for about 2.5 or 3 seasons. So I think Caleb, on a day-to-day process or week-to-week process of learning about what a new defense and new personnel is going to offer you, and then trying to include new terminology, new game planning week in and week out. Almost like what T. Waddle just brought up. If your play sheet has 600 plays on it, chop it down to 50 and then repeatedly run those 50 plays until they become habit forming.
I would have given Thomas Brown an index card and said as many plays as you can put on that's all you got. And let's just run some stuff that works well with this young man. And then if we get to the point where he's made progress and everybody's comfortable, then we can always add. We can always add to it.
Because guys, he has not had any chance to get a chemistry with his coordinator. Now he's got a new coordinator. Yeah. The offensive line, Tom, is something that we've talked about with you a lot this year. Continues to be shuffled around. They got good news today with Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright, but still now Bates is going to be moved over. Every week it's musical chairs on that offensive line. And like you said, it's hard enough as a rookie, even when things are sort of calm. So he's been far from calm, and he's had to try to navigate through an entire season.
Right. I keep talking all week about the first 3 plays of the game last week. The very first play of the game, it was a stretch play to the left, and the hole was there. Man, 100% you got to hit it, and you're probably going for 7 to 10 yards. But DeAndre Swift cuts it back to an unblocked tackler and then gets tackled for no gain. And that's what's going to plague you until Caleb grows out of this, is you're going to face a 7- and 8-man line of scrimmage that is always going to have one guy uncountable in the blocking scheme. And then play 2, they run play action. Excuse me. DeAndre Swift is open. You got to throw him the ball. It's a completion, and he's still running. Instead, he doesn't throw it to him and takes a sack. And now on the 3rd down, he throws it to Roma Dunze, slips through his hands, but you still throw the ball 2 yards short of a first down. I think as long as we're talking about Caleb, we're talking about Thomas Brown, it's also every other player on that football team to commit to what their assignment is on the play.
It's such a good point, Tom, because the coach
There's
has
the
been
mailman,
fired.
by the way. Is that the mailman?
Mailman's in town?
It's Lou's looking at the next door neighbors.
Oh, man. It's always
Lou's,
something different. I always think I know your schedule.
Lou's getting ready for Packer Week, too.
Yeah, he's fired
Lou
up.
knows it's Packer Week. And Tom, it's a really interesting, I guess, situation that is going on up there now. There's a lot of talking, and I understand that the game's different now than back in the day when we were playing with leather helmets. But have you had enough of hearing everybody talk? And I won't point to any individual player, but at some point, I think Ozzie Guillen, we've said this a bunch, said it once. Great teams win games, bad teams have a lot of meetings. And they talk a lot. Have you had your fill of talking up there?
100%. And that's the thing about it. If everybody just follows their assignment, a call in the huddle and, commit to the point of attack in the running game. Try to make more favorable throws for Caleb in terms of the distance of each throw, making sure that you're only thinking about getting repetitive first downs instead of thinking every play can result in a touchdown. And I do think we saw that earlier in the season, and that's what we need to get back to in the latter part of the season.
And we started talking to you about the Packer rivalry, and there's always been trash talk. You played at one of the peaks of it where there were some dirty hits going on. There was a lot of stuff back and forth. Xavier McKinney this week directed some of that towards DJ Moore, and he questioned him giving up on that play in Arizona. When a guy goes there, do you believe that will motivate DJ Moore even more so based on not only, like, DJ Moore's a prideful player, and not only have they struggled, but when you hear a peer say something like that, does that get you even more amped for a game like this?
If it was a cornerback talking trash about DJ Moore, then I would have some concern for it. McKinney is a safety. He's never going to cover DJ Moore. So for him to sit there and talk anything, it's kind of goes on a deaf ear, especially to a guy like DJ Moore. He's one of the most committed, toughest NFL players I think we've all had the opportunity to be around. So Xavier McKinney, I don't even care what you got to say.
When you see that Packer offense, what do you see from them, Tom?
They still committed running game.
Yeah.
Jacobs is a good, hard-nosed, tough running back. He's not going to give you what Aaron Jones gave you with Aaron, the quarterback.
With Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But he's still a good, solid football player. And then Jaden Reed kind of took over last year when they were searching for a good wide receiver on this football team. Christian Watson, he still has some explosiveness, but you never know how healthy he's going to be. Romeo Doubs has had some difficulties earlier in the year when he didn't show up. Tucker Kraft is a good tight end. I still think they're a good offense, and I think Jordan Love is a good player, but I don't think Jordan Love is Aaron Rodgers. So if you get the best out of the Bears defense, I think they can limit their success in Soldier Field.
Tom Brady's doing the game. Have you met Tom Brady at all?
No, I have not.
All right, so you and I are completely different. You played in the NFL. I did not. You've hung
He's
out with Frank.
6'5", you're not 6'5".
Right. That goes along with playing.
Yeah.
You went out with Frank Sinatra. I have not. You've been with I'm just a dork who wants to meet famous people at times too. So I'm going to be hanging around the booth hoping to run into Tom Brady. Would you be excited to meet Tom Brady on Sunday?
Of course. You should go down to his booth and introduce yourself. Why not? You belong in that stadium as much as he does.
Oh, I like that.
I think that you should go down there and,
Don't even knock on the door. Just open it.
Hey, guys.
I'm here.
Yeah, just wanted to welcome you to our city.
Silvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to our town.
Yeah.
He's probably heard of you.
There's no chance. Zero.
There's a lot of conversation about you, Silvy.
Especially this week.
Tom, would you like for Silvy to spend the majority of the first half in the television booth and not in your radio booth?
Now he can. Last week I was a little aggravated with him, and I wanted to turn around and stock him right in the gut, but I didn't.
I got the two-hand shimmy is what I got. And like the two-hand
jack.
You got
the two-hand jack.
Yeah, you still pack the power. I mean, you've not lost much. That's for sure.
As an offensive lineman, that is your first responsibility when you have a pass blocking assignment. You try to stab that guy with both your hands inside the opponent's chest, create that stalemate, and then you're in control of your pass blocking assignment.
Do you hate the Packers more than any other team in the league, or is there another team out there that you dislike more?
Oh, no.
This is it?
It's the Packers, yeah. And you know what, too, T. Waddle, is we were taught about the hatred of the rivalry from Ditka.
Yeah.
A guy that lived in the rivalry, a guy that hated the opponent's head coach, a guy that disliked everything about the Green Bay Packers. So how you're taught the dislike of that rivalry sits with you forever.
Yeah.
Are you have any interest in the Mike Tyson fight tonight?
I do. I am going to watch it. You know, I had a chance to sit next to Mike Tyson at the Bulls All-Star game.
In 88.
In 88, I went to the All-Star game with McMahon. McMahon and I sat next to Tyson and Robin Givens. And so
wow.
had a chance to meet him, kind of size him up at that point in my life and that point in his life. And so I'm really pulling for him tonight, and I hope he knocks this guy out.
Yeah.
Me too. What do you think? Do you think there are any shenanigans or like that the fix could be in? Do you like what are you expecting? I guess is what I'm asking.
I hope Tyson is above that. You know, he looks great. He's 58 years old. He's got to take some offense in this guy putting on a boxing show. And I don't think Tyson wants to be a part of a sideshow of boxing. He wants to go in there and defend his crown and try to knock him out.
You know, maybe he could start a new trend, too. You know how, like, the PGA has the Champions Tour? Maybe there'd be, like, an old guy boxing division. So all of the guys could come out of retirement, and actually they could have their own division or
But do you
league.
think anybody would want to see other old guy fighters besides Mike Tyson?
I would.
You
I'd
would
like
who?
I'd like to see Evander Holyfield back in the ring. Is Buster Douglas still with us?
I don't.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is?
Saw a
Okay.
picture of him today.
Okay, well, let's get him in the ring. It better be a huge ring because my guess is
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a
pretty
big
big
boy,
fella
yeah.
these days. But I would, at least for a while. I'd see the what would you call it? What would the name of the league be? The Elderly Boxing Commission? I don't know what it would be.
Right.
The EBA,
The EBA, the Elderly
the
Boxing.
EBC.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, great stuff. We will see you on Sunday.
Look forward to it, Sylvie.
There you go.